Hey guys, it's Amy with the Sweet Spot Homeschool, and today I'm finally coming to you with a Gentle Feast Language Arts flip through and some information. So I hope you enjoy this video. Just so you know, my kids are forms 2 and 3. So I have a 6th grader, so she would be in form 2. Form 2 is grades 4 through 6, and my son, who'll be in 9th grade, he's in Form 3. So Form 3 is grades 7 through 9. So that is the information I'll have today will be applicable for grades 4 through 6 and 7 to 9. If you have younger kids or older kids, if you have younger kids, if your kid's in kindergarten, she doesn't really necessarily do a lot, like K through probably 2nd, depending on your kids, what they would be. Check out her website. The first thing she does is called 100 Gentle Lessons, and is kind of teaching them phonics and how to read. That would be for the younger kids. So that will be nothing like this. And then for grades 1 through 3, it would be a language arts packet similar to what I'll show you, but it would probably be a lot simpler. And then if you have a Form 4 student who would be grades 10 through 12, it's going to be a lot like what I'm going to show you for my son, Form 3, but it will be a little more complex and more composition, just more difficult, right? The copywork passages will be longer. So if you have younger or older kids, this will probably be still a good video for you. Kindergarten, probably want to just go online and check out her 100 Gentle Lessons. So here we go. All right, first I'll give you sort of an overview of what a Charlotte Mason inspired language arts looks like. Obviously this is specific to a Gentle Feast. This is from my teacher's manual that came with my Cycle 1 curriculum. And it kind of just gives you an overview of like what is in language arts. So there is daily copy work, and this would be for both forms. Longer copy work for the older kids, shorter passages for the little kids. They're just going to write a little bit of it every day. This is also going to be where their spelling comes from. Their spelling words. They're going to find words that they don't know how to spell. The first day they'll read the whole passage. Mark words they don't know how to spell. They can, or you can help them if they think they know everything. And that's going to be what they study for spelling. And then they're going to do their copy work a little bit every day, okay? And she gives great instructions for how to do it. At the end of the week, they're going to have a dictation from that copy work. That's where you're going to read it to them, and they're going to write it out. It could be a portion or the whole thing, just depends on how you want to do it. She has suggestions for how to do spelling, like fun, creative things. So again, every day, copy work, end of the week, dictation. So that's the first thing. She has steps to how to do dictation here. And then every week they're going to do composition. And she breaks it down for forms 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4 down here. So for forms 1 and 2, the copywork passages are going to be drawing and a creative writing prompt. It's going to be coming from something that they're reading either in history or literature for the week. So it'll be information that they're familiar with, especially if your child's doing their history with the Gentle Feast, and also literature books that they're using. Okay, in forms 3 and 4, they're going to have composition assignments in their packets. This is also going to be based on their readings, and there's going to be different genres, and it's going to teach them just a little more instruction. Hope you can see that. Okay, and then daily reading. This is for young kiddos. Phonics, that's not really applicable to mine, but when they're older, they're going to have literature lists. I'll show you those in a minute. They have daily reading, and talks about it here. The schedule for the reading for the literature is in the teacher's manual for your history cycle. Okay, I'll show you that in a few minutes. And then book talks when they finish a book. So probably like once a quarter, once a month, and she has suggested book talks. And then also there's weekly grammar, okay? And she breaks that down. That is in the language arts packet. I will show it to you. Simple, quick. My daughter that's going to be in 6th grade, she has like a grammar lesson, and I think it's once or twice a week in the packet, and then also a reading assignment from Grammarland, and it's just a fun little storybook that teaches grammar. My son has a grammar lesson twice a week, 20 minutes. And then as they get older, there's really not much grammar. She does have links, but it's mostly what they're doing is composition. Okay, so, and then all kids weekly narration notebook from forms 1 and 2. Obviously, if your kid's younger, you might be writing it out for them. Once they hit about 5th or 6th grade, they are going to give you 1 written narration per week. They can write it themselves, and then they're going to have it make nice and neat, rewrite it in a notebook. Older kids, from I think it's like grades 7 through 9, you're going to be working towards 1 written narration per day. Picking any subject that you want. You could kind of rotate between history, science, citizenship, current events. When they're older, that's another kind of aspect to it. And then at the end of the week, they're going to do a final draft of one of those narrations for your Form 3 child. So that's what a week of language arts looks like. So let's go through it again. We have daily copy work, weekly dictation, there's spelling from the copy work, weekly composition, weekly literature reading, and then grammar 2 days a week. Got it? So I hope I hope you can kind of see how it starts to flow. I'm going to show you kind of their literature by grade next. All right, here's an example of some of the books they're going to read for literature, and then I'll show you kind of how they're laid out in the teacher's guide. So my daughter, who is going to be in Form 2, her literature books look like The Door in the Wall, Rolf and the Viking Bow, Pedro's Journal, Miss Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, Naya Nuki, Children of the New Forest, and The Ordinary Princess, and Minstrel in the Tower. I think that's just some of the things she'll be reading. And then she will be reading Grammarland for the grammar as an additional grammar book. And then also, and keep in mind, if you're like, oh, that doesn't sound like enough literature for the whole year, just keep in mind that for their history, they're also reading literature books, and that's not what those are. They're in addition, and I'm not going to read all of them, but just trust me, they're reading plenty of literature. And so that's for her. And then my son, grade 9, Form 3, he will be reading in no particular order. If you want the order, go and order her stuff. The White Company, Adam of the Road, The Adventures of Robin Hood, Story Girl, English literature for boys and girls, and then that Little Red Writing book, and that is just for 9th graders. And again, for him, if that doesn't sound like a lot of literature, they're also going to be reading a ton of literature books for history. So that's kind of how that works. So the last thing I'm going to do is just walk you through a week for each of my kids in their language arts packet, so you can see kind of what the language arts packet looks like. And so just remember that the literature is not included in the language arts packet. That would be, you would need your teacher's manual to have those promptings for the literature that you're going to read. But I'll show you through those language arts packets now. Hope you like it. Okay, here's a look at the language arts packet. All of them, you have the option of getting it digitally. The price for that is $19. Get a digital PDF that you can print out, and they all have a color cover, and then everything inside is black and white, whether you pay for the spiral bound one or get the PDF, just so you know. It's $29, I believe, if you get a spiral bound. We just did the PDFs for both of my kids. So this is my daughter. She will be in grade 6. So this is going to be Form 2. And you also have the option of getting it in print or in cursive. So whatever you think will be easier for your child to read, that's what I would do. You know, if you want your child to write in cursive, that is one thing. But just keep in mind, they're going to be read all of the things that are printed in here. If you're getting cursive, it's all going to be printed in cursive. And that can be more difficult for a child to read. Also, you think about, but I just thought, well, when we read regular books, they're not in cursive, so we just did print. And I will have my kids do cursive on their own. Anyway, so here's a cover for her language arts, and I just put out my teacher's manual so I can show you how to incorporate the literature with it. I'm just going to take you through a week instead of showing like the whole thing, because it basically is the same type of thing every week. So she splits the year into 3 12-week terms. You don't have to do it that way. You could cut it into 9 weeks, but just so you know, so this is just the first term. So all of this is for the first 12 weeks. So it's quite a bit of papers. It's not a lot of, I don't think it's like too much work, but it's a good bit of stuff. And so she gives you instructions, tells you what you're going through. Here, I'll close in. Each term, week 1, 2, 3, so on and so forth. Gives you kind of just a scope and sequence. Sorry, you can see my hand. And then all the info I was sharing with you earlier that was in my teacher's manual is also in these printouts for the language arts packet. Again, a lesson about dictation and all that good stuff. The grammar information. So here we are, term 1. And so day by day. So this is a copywork passage for the week, and it's taken, again, this is taken from history reading. I would highly suggest, if you're going to do language arts, I think it would go better to do the history as well. I just think it would flow better. You could do it independently, but then obviously a lot of the stuff that's going to be on the copywork and the writing prompts is not, they're not going to be reading those books if you're not doing the history along with it. I hope that makes sense. So anyway, here's the copywork. You're going to do several lines a day. It has the whole week's worth together. And then again, like you'll help them pick their spelling words. So they just do a little bit every day. Okay, so it's the whole week's copywork. You can see there's a picture. And then this is the day 1 where they would write their spelling words after they read over the copywork passage. So for day 1, I would have my child read the whole copywork passage, write down words that they didn't know how to spell. You could always quiz them if they weren't sure. Those would be the words they practice. And then have them do just a couple lines. You're going to divide up the copywork into 5 days, right? And then it tells you like them to practice. So this is day 2. On day 2, you're going to draw a picture of Neptune, king of the sea. They might want to Google it, but it has something to do with what they'll be reading, again, for their history and sometimes for their literature. And then day 2, they would do another portion of that copywork that you saw earlier, right? And then they would practice their spelling again. Okay? Day 3, composition. What are you good at? Write about it. And she definitely says you don't want to critique it. You don't want to get correct for errors at form 2. You just want to let them write creatively. So they'll do their composition. They'll do part of their copywork. They'll practice their spelling. And that would be day 3. And again, this is just the language arts portion. This is not the literature. And then for day 4, there's a grammar focus. And you can see it's just different exercises. These 2 pages. So it's the predicates, subject nouns. And it gives like the explanation here. Let me go back so you can see. So it kind of teaches a little short lesson. And then they have just a short grammar lesson, right? And that was day 4. And again, they would practice their copywork and practice their spelling. And then on Friday, they have their day 5 dictation. So they will have done that copywork all week, and you're going to read them a portion of it and test them on their little spelling words. For the dictation, and you're just going to read it, and they're going to write it here. Okay, so that was what day 5 would look like. So that's the week. It's a full week of language arts, grammar, composition, copywork, and dictation. Okay, and then the literature again is in the teacher's manual. So you would just make sure, like, each day they're going to do part of this language arts packet, and then they're going to do their reading. So this first week, chapters 1 through 4. So if I was doing this with my daughter, we would do chapter, like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we would read, right? A chapter, and then work in our notebook for the other pieces of it. And so that's how it works. I hope that gives you a good idea. I think it's really great. It's gentle. It's great. It gives enough, I think, instruction. And I'll show you my son so you can see what Form 3 looks like. All right, so here's the language arts packet for my son who will be in 9th grade. So it's Form 3. And so keep in mind for Form 3, especially when by the time they're in 9th grade, in addition to the language arts packet, and in addition to the literature that he'll be reading daily, he'll also need to give me one written narration per day. It could be in history, biology, a current event. So the days where he's not doing a composition as part of this, he's going to need to give me a written narration in one of his subjects. Also, I'm going to use, like when he does a history narration and a biology narration, I'm going to use those to help for grades for those subjects as well, just so that he has some grades. If you're into doing grades, you could do it that way. If you're not, that's fine, but that's just my 2 cents. So he will do the literature. I'm going to show you that first. So days 1 through 4 for Form 3. I'm going to back up so you can see it. He's going to be reading chapters 1 through 3, Adam of the Road, and then that's days 1 through 4. And then day 5, he'll read this English literature for boys and girls, and it tells you which one to do. So that takes care of the literature, and here comes the rest. Gives you the same instructions. There is an answer key online for both levels, all the levels, if you need it. Okay, so here's his copy work, and you can see right away it's more than the Form 2, and they're harder words. So I think this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 passages. So for day 1, I would have him read the entire copywork passage, make note of words that he doesn't know how to spell, maybe highlight them or whatever, and put them on his spelling list, which is right here. And then I'll have him begin to do the copywork, probably a section or 2 for the first day. Then he'll read his literature. So then for day 2, and then of course he'll be giving me one written narration. Okay, so for day 2, he's going to continue with the copywork, another passage or 2, study those spelling words, give me a written narration in one of his subjects, and draw a picture of a U.S. landmark. So this does have some drawing in there. And then he's also going to give me a little grammar lesson here. Just review. Capitalization and when to use what. There's some punctuation rules. Simple, short, little lesson. Okay, so that's for day 2. Day 3, again, he's going to do another section of copy work on that spelling, do his literature, give me a short written narration from one of his subjects, and then this is the grammar lesson. Okay, punctuation mark, why is it used? All right, and then day 4, he'll be doing, again, copy work, practicing those spelling words, and then instead of a written narration on day 4, there is a composition assignment, so I'm going to do that in lieu of a written narration. And so you see this one is writing a poem about the United States, including some of the important landmarks, geographical features. So that's, and it tells you not to use, she gives you lists of overused words and stuff. So that would be day 4. And then day 5, we have practiced that copy work all week. I'm going to pick a section and give it to him in a dictation, and he will write it here. And then I probably will quiz him on those spelling words. And then he will give me one of his written narrations that he's done during the week. He's going to give me a final draft, type it up, and put it in his narration notebook. So that's how it works for the older kids. So I hope you understand. I hope it's clear. If you have any questions, let me know. But that is sort of her approach. And I think it's fantastic. So I hope you like this video. If you know anyone that might be interested in using a Gentle Feast, please share this video with them. I personally think it's just the greatest and wonderful. But everybody has their own, sweet spot for their homeschool. So I hope that you enjoyed this and you guys have a great day.